India is one of the fastest growing emerging countries on the planet, and its development in recent years has been a reference worldwide. Thanks to this growth, the country has improved its infrastructure and cultivated a booming trade and export sector. Much of this success is due to the textile business, India's most important industry and one of the country's main sources of revenue. According to the Indian Brand Equity Foundation, the textile industry accounts for 4% of national GDP, 14% of India's industrial production, and more than 10% of export revenue. The textile business employs more than 35 million people, making it the Indian economy's number 2 industry after agriculture. A part of Inditex's manufacturing comes also from India. While the fashion retailer manufactures most of its merchandise in Europe and countries nearby, it produces around 5% of its garments in India, using more than 100 non-exclusive suppliers, which together employ about 65,000 workers. These Indian producers have grown alongside Inditex, forging closer manufacturing and human ties with the company. As part of this process, Inditex has implemented a range of initiatives designed to improve working conditions at factories, in keeping with the company's global corporate social responsibility policy. An example of these activities was the Vidya Project, launched in 2009. Out of 135 suppliers, the company chose 24 companies with the lowest scores for compliance with the Inditex Code of Conduct. It embarked upon a far-reaching effort to assist them in improving their workplace conditions.
The Vidya Project was born in 2009 as a result of the regular inspection carried out by the Inditex CSR department in India. Through our regular social audits, we identified 24 suppliers in the New Delhi area which did not fully comply with our code of conduct.
Inditex took images of the possible network of subcontractors that these suppliers were using, and they identified the risks of subcontracting in this area. Although Inditex suppliers were not operating in these conditions, the teams acted immediately in order to improve working conditions across the supply chain and reduce the exposure to such risks.
We created the Vidya Project in order to directly address these issues. We also share it with our partners in the Ethical Trading Initiative and in the International Union of the Garment Workers, the ITGLWF, as only through our combined effort could the project be successful.
In September 2009, they came to a meeting that I'd organised at the Ethical Trading Initiative and presented a picture of their supply chain that they'd been investigating for some months. And this was one of the most rigorous mapping of a supply chain that I've seen.
La empresa nos informó de los problemas detectados en el 2009 y al mismo tiempo del inicio de un trabajo importante para resolverlos en concreto sobre el terreno.
The aim was to improve not only the conditions of all the suppliers and their partners in terms of compliance, but also to teach them how to manage all the requirements of our code of conduct by themselves.
At that time, Inditex was proposing that they should restructure the supply chain. They should work with far fewer suppliers and more capable suppliers in order that they had stronger controls over the supply chain, they had stronger partnerships with those suppliers, and firmer agreements about the labour conditions that they were going to put in place.
The result has been very satisfactory. We have established control to prevent the use of underage workers. We have carried out more than 300 analyses of water in the factories to ensure that it is drinkable. We have encouraged the clean and healthy conditions in the factories with particular focus on washrooms. We have improved all the standards of health and safety in the workplace. Finally, we have encouraged the development of internal organizational structures that ensure higher standard of quality control and increase production capacity of each supplier. The results speak for themselves, as none of the suppliers in the project which are still working with us has a D rating.
After identifying those 24 suppliers, Inditex discovered that there was a network of 2,000 potential subcontractors. After a detailed analysis, Inditex identified 222 workshops that were involved in Inditex's production processes. Today, after the implementation of the Vidya Project, Inditex is working with 17 out of those 24 previously mentioned suppliers. 3 suppliers have been completely discarded as they have not achieved the required standards following our corrective action plans. Operations with a further 4 suppliers were ceased due to commercial reasons. The corrective actions were focused on 5 specific areas that Inditex believed were key to reach minimum requirements: to ensure the factories did not recruit underage workers, to ensure access to drinkable water for all the workers, to increase health and safety conditions in all suppliers, to ensure minimum wages in all the factories, and to increase the production capacity of each supplier. Inditex always undertakes these challenges by engaging all of the company's teams, from buyers to human resources, but especially CSR.
Hello, my name is Mayank Kaushik. I am one of the 50 professionals working with Inditex CSR team in India. The very first thing I would like to highlight is that Inditex CSR policy is a global policy, which means that it involves the CSR team as well as the global buying team, who are responsible to oversee and rectify the problems in the supply chain as soon as it is identified. In Vidya Project, we concentrated most of our efforts as well as attention towards ensuring that the workers working in our supply chain are of legal working age, which some of the suppliers, some of the manufacturers did not do habitually.
These are the boards. This is the factory timing, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. lunch break timing. Then is the child labor prohibition poster. क्या नाम हो आपका? प्रियंका. आप जब यहाँ आए थे काम करने तो कंपनी वालों ने आपसे कोई प्रमाण पत्र, उम्र प्रमाण पत्र मांगा था? क्या दिया आपने? पहचान पत्र. वोटर आईडी कार्ड था? वोट देने वाला कार्ड था? ठीक है. उसमें आपकी उम्र क्या लिखी हुई है? 21 साल. This is the file of Priyanka, whom we talk to now. She is a thread cutter in this area. This is her appointment letter, in which she has signed here. We'll see her age proof document. This is the voter ID card, which states that she is born in 1990. 22 years now.
Yep.
It's fine.
So what we were also not doing is that it's not that we were employing child labor, but we were not taking documentary evidence from workers to ensure that they were, they were above 18 years, which is as per law to be, employing people.
सबका लेके रखते हैं. अगर किसी के पास नहीं होता तो उसका उनको BDS डॉक्टर का मंगाते हैं, डेंटल का. उनके पास होता नहीं है कई बार.
पर्सनल फाइल कितना दिन में मेंटेन करते हैं?
पर्सनल फाइल हमारी सेकंड डे कंप्लीट हो जाती है. फर्स्ट डे या बिकॉज वी हैव अ सिस्टम, मेगा सॉफ्ट सिस्टम, पेरोल सिस्टम. वी आर क्रिएटिंग द बायोडाटा ऑन सेम डे एंड टेक अ प्रिंट आउट आफ्टर वन डे.
ठीक है.
Hello, my name is Priyanka Sinha and I work for Inditex CSR team in India. Our primary work is to share the best practices of employee welfare with our suppliers. This is an ongoing effort because there's always room for improvement. One of the areas we worked the hardest during our Vidya project was to ensure that purified drinking water is available for all the workers. There are several waterborne diseases which are prevalent in India, which are caused because of the contaminated water.
We are SGS, a world-leading testing, certification and verification company. Inditex, few years back, Inditex approached us for one of their projects which requires water testings, specifically for some of the microbiological and chemical parameters. During that project, SGS analyzed almost more than 200 samples for microbiological and chemical analysis. Specifically, in the chemical analysis, we have carried out analysis of TDS, which is one of the most critical parameter in water analysis. And as is part of microbiology, we have carried out the most sensitive parameters, which is coliform and E. coli.
This is the drinking water. We asked you to maintain a schedule, cleaning schedule. Yeah, can you keep it here? Right.
Hello, I am Suman Betapodi, member of Inditex CSR team in India. Another key issue we constantly stress in our work, especially in Vidya Project, is workplace health and safety. One of the main causes of accidents which happens in India is usage of low standard fire safety equipments and absence of emergency exits. This is another goal we set as a priority in our work.
फ्लोर पे फायर हाइड्रेंट लगाए हैं, हर एक फ्लोर पे 2 से 3 फायर हाइड्रेंट है। ये हमारे एंट्रेंस में ही 2 हमने फायर हाइड्रेंट दिए, ये हॉजरील का है और एक ये डायरेक्ट है। अच्छा, अगर कभी इन केस इस तरह की कोई चीज़ होती है तो इसको खींचेगा और कर्मचारी या जो भी ट्रेंड पर्सन है वो खींच के लेके सीधे चला जाएगा।
वेरी हाई, राइट? आप एक काम करो, इसका हाइट उतार के आप इसको यहाँ लगाओ, आंखों पे दिखना चाहिए क्या क्या चीज़ है अंदर, ठीक है? उतारिए, एक बार उतारिए। आपने बोला कि पूरा भाई गंदा है ना, अब आप जब गंदा है तो उसको बंद कर दीजिए, सफाई करवा दीजिए। ये बंद होगा, उसके बाद बंद करेंगे, यहाँ इससे ये लगाओ,
फैसिलिटी होती है,
इससे ये बंद होना चाहिए। Priyanka, right? This is a major point.
Hello, my name is Gini Sharma and I'm also one of the member of Inditex CSR team India. One of the most important areas that we focus on while ensuring and monitoring compliance in any of the factories is payment of minimum wages. We recommend that all the workers are made aware of the legal minimum wages as per the local government notification and the latest one. For this, we advocate that the workers' representatives are present in the factory who can help them in dealing with the companies. To this end, we use one of the most effective tools, that is workers' interviews, and these interviews are carried on with the workers and the workers' representative so that we can assess whether such issues are present in the factory or not. And if they are, we can start resolving them as soon as possible.
कोई कमेटी के आप मेंबर हो?
हाँ।
कौन सी कमेटी के हो?
मतलब ये महिला कमेटी होती है, जैसे कोई भी
महिला कमेटी। अच्छा जी, उसमें क्या बात, अच्छा कब से हो आप उस कमेटी के मेंबर?
उसमें साल भर सारा हो गया।
1 साल से ऊपर उसमें। अच्छा, उस कमेटी में क्या क्या होता है?
उसमें ये मतलब 11-12 के बाद बीच में कमेटी होती है।
हाँ,
कभी
हाँ।
11 तारीख को भी होती है, कभी 12 तारीख को भी होती है।
11 या 12 तारीख
हाँ
को। जी जी।
कोई समझाया जाता है, पूछा जाता है कि आपको कोई दिक्कत तो नहीं है, किसी वर्कर से, किसी इंचार्ज से कोई प्रॉब्लम है।
अच्छा, आप कितने बजे आते हैं सुबह?
सुबह 9 बजे आते हैं।
9 बजे आते हैं और जाते कितने बजे हैं?
सुबह शाम 5:30 बजे।
5:30 बजे। कभी ओवर टाइम लगे तो?
ओवर टाइम बहुत कम, बहुत मुश्किल है।
बहुत मुश्किल है।
Finally, but very importantly, to increase the production capacity was one of the key aims of the Vidya projects in order to avoid subcontracting and increase control over the supply chain. The number of subcontractors has been reduced from 222 to 14 workshops. All of them are audited and authorized by Inditex.
For me, Fine Lines is producing 95% of the production in-house, or maybe more. And I feel that by next year, by next season, I should be all in-house.
In the past, we could get majority of our production done through the subcontractors. But as together we decided that the subcontractors also have to be controlled, and the facilities and the environment and everything have to be the same as in our factories. Not all the subcontractors could pass the test.
The internal CSR team analyzes the production capacity of the suppliers, and if it does not correspond with the level of orders placed at those specific production sites, the Inditex team identifies the potential subcontracting facilities.
In addition, we work with the suppliers on the capacity assessment, encouraging them to work towards in-house production. ECAD marine engineers from a local reputed institute were introduced in 2010 to continue to help the suppliers work within our capacity and quality related parameters. As a result, the suppliers have increased internal capacity through the installation of 4,500 new machines, and we plan to continue to work with them to reduce the reliance on subcontractor in garment sewing.
The monitoring procedure is based on unannounced audits carried out by external and internal parties, competence visits by the internal CSR team, specific audits on HR systems and workshops with the involved suppliers. The competence visits are held after the social audit to provide support to suppliers in order to improve the areas of non-compliance discovered.
In the last 3 years, we have carried out more than 700 audits at factories, half of them by external teams. We have also done 400 competence visits to factories, and we have held more than 70 workshops with suppliers.
One of the questions most frequently asked when a supplier fails to comply with the code of conduct is why doesn't the company simply stop using that vendor? Inditex's view is that to cut and run is not the solution, and that the company must work with the supplier to help it improve its performance on all fronts. Inditex aims for its suppliers to grow in tandem with the company.
From the Inditex CSR point of view, our commitment to our supply chain and stakeholders is to make every effort to improve and resolve any breaches to our principles. To cut and run is not a solution, as it will often make the situation worse for the workers working in the factory.
Entendemos que una solución fácil, pero que no apoyamos, sería la de rescindir los contratos de aquellas empresas que no cumplieran unos mínimos requisitos y buscar otras. Esta sería una forma aparentemente fácil, pero negativa en la práctica. Primero, porque esto supondría acudir a otros proveedores con el mismo riesgo de que se suscitaran estos problemas. Pero al mismo tiempo, esto tampoco es la solución adecuada para los trabajadores porque representaría una pérdida de su puesto de trabajo.
You know, with Inditex, over the last 3 years, they've made us believe and grow and counter-check our own facilities firstly, and secondly, the CSR office comes invariably and does a counter-check as well. And if something is wrong, they will point it to us and they will ask us to improve it and then do a counter-check again.
When we started this process a few years ago, it was a very interesting study because when we started this process, we were actually thinking the way the Inditex is buying, it would be impossible for us to follow any of the norms. But as we started moving, we realized that it's not only not impossible, but it is very interesting.
CSR is not something that you do it in one shot. You know, it's a gradual process, and then every time you come there, you have to go up, you can't go down.
Because the journey till now, what has been, which looked impossible, the first step was so difficult. But as we started with persuasion of Inditex, fear of Inditex also at times. But I must say that this has been a very innovative journey actually.
The word Vidya in Hindi means knowledge. Knowledge to grow, knowledge to improve. And this is very important because this signifies the philosophy of Inditex. We want to work with our suppliers to improve them, to reach to the new goals. And we firmly believe to cut and run is not the right solution.
We believe in educating and sharing knowledge. That is the reason we organize in-depth meetings, trainings and workshops with the management representatives of our suppliers. And to see the improvement in the supplier's condition is really encouraging for us.
Improving and monitoring the factory standards is a never-ending task, but we are determined and dedicated to do it.
Furthermore, our commitment with our stakeholders, and very importantly our agreement with the International Union of Garment Workers, inspire us to continuously improve working conditions.
Esto está permitiendo ir adquiriendo una experiencia concreta de cómo aplicar el acuerdo marco y está permitiendo, ligándolo con otras experiencias, desde Bangladesh hasta Perú o Brasil, Marruecos o Turquía, está permitiendo una aplicación del acuerdo marco que es hoy, en el ámbito internacional, es una referencia importante y una experiencia importante para otros espacios de esta actividad en defensa de los derechos del trabajo y, en definitiva, para hacer un mundo más habitable dentro de la actual complejidad de los problemas de la crisis, de los problemas de suministros, etc.
The results of the Vidya Project encourage us to continue with this philosophy of sharing knowledge, as it has shown that together we can make real and lasting changes.